Now, in the recent history of Ghana, we have seen President Akufo-Addo being very resistant to some of the changes that has been asked for by people. And in the current tape, we heard the people saying that we will tell the president who's not, and they said that some people in the president's cabinet are with him. Now, Bugri Nabu does not represent much in terms of NPP right now. He's not the regional chairman anymore. He's not minister, deputy minister. He's not cabinet. He's not the president's kitchen cabinet. He doesn't connect to any of the power bases in the party at this time. So having a conversation with him is okay. But these people were campaigning to him that he, Bugri Nabu, should carry on the information to the important people because the president doesn't listen. That's the point they're trying to make. Now, here is President Akufo-Addo, who has had his members of parliament, there are 137 of them, about 90 of them come to him say, sack the finance minister. Has he sacked the finance minister? No, he hasn't. So that he's going to be under pressure to sack Dr. Dampare. It's unlikely. And it's not the way Akufo-Addo governs. We've seen him sack this, sack that. The whole country rose up and said, cabinet reshuffle. We shouted, and I shouted some. Everybody shouted, cabinet reshuffle. President, reshuffle your cabinet. He came out and said, I shall not reshuffle my cabinet. Everybody's doing well. In fact, some NPP communicators were concerned that the president's statements might make the government unpopular because people think ministers are not doing well. So that is the makeup of the president. And the conversation so showed, by the way, I was told that this conversation happened before Assin North. It didn't happen recently. It happened before Assin North. The people who had the recording have had it for a while. And they decided to release it at this time for some reason. We don't know. But in the conversation, they alleged very serious things about themselves and about the politicization of the police. The point I'm making is that Dr. Dampare as IGP, he will not be able to help anybody to win. Now, those who don't like Dr. Dampare and NPP say that Dr. Dampare is NDC because he was Professor Mills's AD camp, and therefore he's NDC. That's total hogwash. I'll show you why it's hogwash. It's not correct information. It's correct information, but it's irrelevant, inconsequential. Because can a policeman really help you to win? If police people could help people to win, we wouldn't have this scenario that I'm about to point to. This is Suraj. Now, Suraj was the reason why Assin North became a problem. Because this is how it started. Suraj saw a polling agent of the NPP casting his vote and taking a photograph of the vote. He took a photograph of the vote. And then Suraj ordered that he be put in handcuffs. That why is he taking a photograph of the vote? As of now, the Electoral Commission's CI is yet to come out for the 2024 election. I'm not so sure whether taking a photograph of the vote is a criminal offense. I'm not sure about that. I'm not so sure whether we can tell people that don't take your mobile phone into the ballot. What you cannot do is to vote and to show it to people. You can stretch that by saying that he's going to show the photograph to people. But that I take a photograph, it doesn't mean I'm going to show it to people. I can keep it myself. It doesn't mean that. So it was Suraj who was in charge of the operation on that occasion. And Suraj caused the arrest of this NPP guy who it was alleged that he was taking photographs of the vote that he has cast. But who is he going to show to confirm what? He's a polling agent, a constituency executive of the party already. If they don't trust him, they won't make him constituency executive. He doesn't need to come and show that he voted for the NPP. I'm not sure about that. He probably took it just to enjoy himself, frolic of his own, etc., etc. Suraj was doing his police work. And then he exercised his discretion to arrest the guy. That's where the Assin North problem started. And then there was complaints. Yes, they are arresting our people. And they are putting the NDC people in the police car and they are moving them around. NDC man wants to go here, they move him around. In fact, at some point in Assin North, one of the police people was willing to transport me if I needed it. I said, no, I don't need it, which is okay. I had a journalist badge, so that transport is okay. I'm not so sure if an NDC person wants to move from here to here and they transport him, whether it's a problem. But it looked like it was a problem because they said that you are handcuffing this one and you are helping this one. Because the thing with Assin North is that I drove for about an hour and 15 minutes and I was still in Assin North. It's not a joke. We drove from the Ningo area to Breku, the NPP so-called stronghold, to Kushia, which is now split as the NDC stronghold. It took us 1 hour and 15. So if you're a journalist and you are reporting and you don't have a car, and the police are going from Ningo and they ask you why you go, you say I'm going to Breku and they say join us, I'm not sure there's a problem with that. If you're NPP and they say join us, I'm not sure there's a problem with that. If you're NDC and they say join us, I think there shouldn't be a problem with that. What it is that the concern was about handcuffing. So the whole brouhaha in Assin North centered around COP Suraj. Now, who is COP Suraj? Is he NDC or is he NPP? We've just been doing a survey since last Monday when the tape broke, last Tuesday when the tape broke. And I can tell you for free that we have asked people about the COP. So we put the COPs, we've written their names, and we are calling people and say, Charlie, this COP, is he NDC or NPP? Oh, it's NDC. Oh, it's NPP. Oh, it's NDC or it's NPP. Some of the police people that they tell us is NDC, another account says it's NPP. Some of those that they start by saying it's NPP, another account says it's NDC. So really, this is not about, police is not about that. Suraj is, if Dr. Dampare is NDC because he was with Professor Mills, then Suraj, who caused the problem, is NPP. Why? Because who was the aide-de-camp to the NPP vice president, Alhaji Aliu Mahama. May God keep his soul. Alhaji Aliu Mahama was Suraj's boss was Alhaji Aliu Mahama. Is Suraj therefore NPP? Because his boss was Alhaji Aliu Mahama. If Suraj is NPP, has he changed to become NDC so that he was the trouble causer in Assin North? I'm trying to explain these things for us to understand that it's very dangerous for us to place these men in those political circles. They vote. Yes, they will vote. Electoral Commissioner votes. Referee Howard Webb, he was a referee, but he was a referee. He was a Manchester United fan, and he was a referee, and he refereed United games. And Ryan Giggs, our United hero, had exchange of words with him on the field. But he's a United fan. He's doing his work professionally. When Peter Adjete became Speaker of Parliament, I always say the story. The Ghana Bar Association went to him and said that now that you are Speaker of Parliament, we hope that you will be neutral. And Peter said, I cannot be neutral. How can I be neutral? I'm a member of the New Patriotic Party. In fact, I'm his chairman. How do you expect me to be neutral? Peter told them, the word you are looking for is impartial, not neutral. I can never be neutral. I am blue blood NPP, as Peter Adjete told them. It meant a lot to me as I watched Peter Adjete that day. He said, I am NPP. I cannot be neutral in these matters. But the call on me as Speaker of Parliament is to be impartial. Alban Bagbin is NDC. In fact, Alban Bagbin is an NDC MP. He's Speaker of Parliament. Yesterday, he gave a ruling against the NDC about a very sensitive one. This Assin North fight, and they won't come to Parliament, and they are going to copy. Alban Bagbin told them, you can't do that. You can't go to court and you will leave. You will be derelict of your duty. If you do that, I'll mark you absent. And people don't understand, but marking a parliamentarian absent for a certain number of times can even occasion the loss of the seat. So it's a very serious matter. Alban Bagbin, Sumanu Kingsford, the Right Honorable Speaker, he is a die-in-the-wool NDC man. He gave the ruling because the call on him as Speaker is to be impartial. It's not to be neutral. How is he going to be neutral? He's an NDC man. Neutral for what? Johnson Asiedu Nketiah goes to him and they talk. The way Asiedu Nketiah goes to him and the things they talk about, Stephen Ntim cannot go and say the same things with him. But he's a Speaker of the Parliament and he's expected to be impartial. So it's important that civil society, media, journalists, all of us, don't put the pressure on these people and say, you are NDC, you are NPP. I'll come to the work that they need to be doing, but it is very important that we do that. So this is Suraj. Suraj was Aliu Mohammed's aide-de-camp. So is he NPP? Okay, so he has become NDC? I don't know. Let me go on with the story. This is COP Kofi Boakye. Okay, I called him ACP for so long that sometimes I forget. The other day he said he would knock my head if I still call him ACP. Because we were in law school together in those days, as soon as I arrived, I said, ACP. He says, Paulus. And then we'll talk about consulting and say, it is my man. He said, just a sweet guy. They say he's NDC. In fact, they started, when he came with the striking force, where he got all of us excited about him, all of us who were small boys, were very excited about this new police officer. He comes with so many university degrees, very brilliant man. He's well built. All of us were going to the gym to look like Kofi Boakye. So he was a striking force commander. And Rawlings was particularly interested in the striking force. They said he was NDC. Then Kufuor became president. Then they said, COP is ACP Kofi Boakye. He's a Kufuor man. They've made him director of operations. He's a MPP. Okay. Then when John Mahama became president, they said he was NDC. Oh, I have a photograph with Kofi Boakye on voting day on election 2016. I was in Kumasi. I'm always in Kumasi on election day. And I was in Kumasi and I had a photograph with him at Mensha Palace. Because when I go to Kumasi on election day, as some of you know, I first cover Otufo's voting. So I'm always calling them, is Asante Hine come? Asante will come out around 11. And I tell my people at 11 o'clock, we have to be at Mensha. Otufo is coming to vote. So I was there when Otufo was voting. And Kofi Boakye was there. at that time, they said he's NDC because of his relationship with John Mahama. And Kofi Boakye is great like that. President Mahama likes people like that. So he was his friend. But they said he was NDC. Was it not under Kofi Boakye's watch that the NPP won the biggest victory in Ashanti, 75% in 2016? What will a policeman do to help you or to undermine you? He has to work with the law. So if he handcuffs you, you can go to the court and get the handcuff removed. And he has to play by the rules. So Kofi Boakye was the regional commander in 2016. They said he was NDC, but it was then that the NPP won the biggest victory in Ashanti region, one of the biggest in the Fourth Republican history, over an NDC, so-called NDC police officer. So we need to be careful about these things, viewers. This is Peter Namfuri. Peter Namfuri, many people who knew him thought that philosophically he was a socialist. Okay. A lot of the people who grew up in Namfuri's era, who had been trained by the Ideological Institute and all of that, were socialists. Okay. Peter Namfuri was great friends with J.J. Rawlings. He was, very much so. And great friends with many NDC people. And many people in the police force suspected that he was NDC. It was under Peter Namfuri's watch that the NDC lost one of their biggest defeats in the 2000 election. Namfuri was the IGP. Why didn't he help NDC to win? Maybe he wanted NDC to win. I can believe that. But what can he do? He can only cast one vote for the NDC and invites his wife to cast a vote for the NDC. And if he has children who are over 18, he'll ask them to cast a vote for the NDC. That's about it. He can't do beyond that. There are any operational arrangements, it is so detailed out from the beginning to the end. So when Namfuri was IGP, the NDC lost the election 2000. So that vibe, that, oh, if you change the IGP, you can break the 8. If there's an IGP, you can't break the... Look, if people cast the vote for you, you will break the 8. If they don't cast the votes for you, you will not break the 8. It's as simple as that. Okay. So, and then this is IGP Achampong. He used to be Tema Regional Commander, particularly intelligent man. It was said that, oh, Achampong, the NPP, I mean, radio, NDC communicators were shouting it, Elvis Ankra and others, and the IGP should be careful. We know that he's they said everything they would say. They said he was Kofo's friend, so he was NPP. It was in Achampong's era, under his watch, in 2008, that the NPP suffered the slimmest defeat in the political history of Ghana. That so tiny willy defeat of 25,000 of 10 million people voting with a difference of 25,000, which the NDC used to win the 2008 election, was under the watch of the IGP, who was said to be NPP. Why didn't he cancel the 25% or give the NPP the 25%? Can he do that? No, he can't. So when we say that an IGP is going to help somebody to win the election, I think it's total hogwash. And the NDC and other politicians are making a big deal out of this story that NPP want to rig the election with an IGP. Okay, fair enough. Story has come, so we need to deal with it. So this is the first part of this is Alex Mensah, who was mentioned in the tape, and this is Bugri Nabu that I talked about. So we have to understand that look, you can't say that IGP sitting there the election is going to be run, about 13 million people are going to vote. The police force in Ghana is about 50,000. How are they going to ensure? I mean, 50,000 is a significant vote. If they are all going to vote one way and they all vote for a certain candidate, that's significant. 50,000, it could be significant. A winning candidate is going to get 6 million and something. 50,000 can change something. In 2008, we saw 25,000 changing something. So that's quite significant, isn't it? But can a police officer help you to win? If he's IGP, can he help you to win? How does he do it? What will he do? Will he cast 10 ballots? Will he stop there? When they are counting the ballots, will he say that he's taking it away? When somebody takes the ballot box away, what will happen? I remember my own personal experience in the year 2000, and some of the NDC people in Dadekotopon have not liked that. There was a situation in the year 2000 in Labadi when I was covering the elections, where after covering the elections at the polling station at Pamoy Junction, those of you who know Labadi will understand it. At Pamoy Junction, the votes had to be transported to Laboni Secondary School, which is about 20 minutes or so drive. But there was no direct road to Laboni Secondary School. So you need to go around and get onto the main road to get back into Laboni, to get to Laboni Secondary School. So what they did in 1996 was that they carried the ballot boxes and walked through the bush path, and they went in. So I was on the ground covering the report, and I got a call from people who were around Jacob Bilamti, and they said, we have just heard you on Joy. Where are you? I said, I'm in Labadi, Dadekutupong. I'm covering the election. I'm at Pawanjang. I said, what's happening there? I said, well, the police station results have been declared. And so they are carrying it to Laboni Secondary School for the tabulation. But somehow the Electoral Commission's vehicle is not available, and the police don't have a vehicle. So the people are passing through the bush. Then they expressed their concern. As a journalist, I called Joy FM and told them what I wanted to do. They said, there, talk to the police. I said, police, I have a car. It's a good car. It can take all of us. It can take the balabos. Shall we go in my car so we get there quick? The policeman said, yeah, why not? NDC people, yeah. So we drove straight to Laboni Secondary School and put it down. There was MPP were concerned that when they get into the bush, they open the thing and they look at it and take the MPP ones out and leave it in the bush. And that's what happened in 96. They said all that. I don't know whether it's true or not. But when we did that, the MPP won the constituency for the first time in the year 2000, and Sylvester Mensah was defeated. I don't know whether the moving those 6 or 7 ballot boxes was part of it. I'm not sure. In the polling stations where the counting was done, though, the NDC had won. But by the time we got to Laboni Secondary School, Akonai, who was the MPP candidate, actually became victorious. So what can the police do? What can they do? I mean, now the police have full logistics. This story I'm telling you is not going to happen now. The police will have a car in every police station. They're going to have all their resources. Electoral Commission will have everything they need. 2000 is 23 years ago, so you know that things were not as great as they are now. Okay, so Achampong presided over NPP defeat, the NPP IGP. Peter Namfuri presided over an NDC defeat, the NDC IGP. And this is Namfuri again. So all of that is not very important. What is important is that politicians must focus on their message. NPP didn't lose Assin North because Dr. Dampare did anything against them. Or even Suraj. Suraj did what? He handcuffed, I don't know whether it's true, it's correct, but NPP people think it was very wrong. I can sort of agree that in the public glare, you don't take a constituency executive and handcuff him. You enable other people and you disenable other people in terms of the psychology. Yeah, the psychology, you disenable and enable other people. So it's something that perhaps it's a matter of indiscretion, I guess. But that's only my guess. I'm not the court. I can't make that determination. But this is the Suraj who did that, who everybody was saying, Suraj, he's an MPP man, he's an NDC man. Dampare brought him here to come and cheat us. But what's the history of Suraj? He's Aliu Muhammad's man. Is Aliu Muhammad also NDC? I don't think so.